Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. If you enjoy these videos, do me a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel right here at Watchbox Reviews. I would really appreciate it and I promise to update daily. If you love this watch, you can see it and you can purchase it on our website, thewatchbox.com. Today we are discussing one of the best of the 90s. This is the Roger Dubuis Sympathie 37, a Besançon chronometer with a Geneva Hallmark caliber, so it's the best of both worlds. The chronometer certificate from the French Observatory at Besançon and the Poinçon de Genève, plus it features the much sought and rarely produced first-generation Roger Dubuis Sympathie case. A timepiece 37mm across the case from 9 to 3, and unconventional in its shape. It's not a thick watch with an ultra-thin automatic caliber in three-hand form. It measures only 8mm thick with a generously sloped case flank. Lug to lug, it is a strong watch as those lugs project dramatically, but objectively they're not too broad as it's not an oversized watch. The watch only projects 47mm across the wrist, which means I can recommend it for wrists as small as 14cm circumference. The spacing between the lugs is 20mm, so it'll even accept a standard-sized strap if you wish to accessorize. The factory piece is handsome. Large, generously bolstered, it is thick cut and substantial, and you can see that it has large rectangular scale alligator leather and a semi-gloss finish. It also has a sheer side, so you can see the layers of construction. On the underside calfskin, it is a Dubuis factory strap, and it's paired with a Dubuis factory buckle in matching red gold. And it is best to call this red gold. There are some that are rosy, some that are pink, and some that are truly red. They tend to have a very high copper content, and that's true here. You can see all of the original hallmarks of the case, and I don't mean precious metal hallmarks, but distinctive forms and flourishes. They're present here. All of the character lines are sharp. The signature vertical satin finish along the case band is entirely intact. You can see that the corners of the bezel align perfectly with the corners of the case, align perfectly with the corners of the sapphire and the corners of the cream-colored lacquered dial. And this is important because these first-generation Sympathie watches were a bear to create. They required a lot of hand tinkering to get the crystals to fit just perfectly and to allow the watches to pass water tests. So that was quickly abandoned in favor of a second-generation Sympathie that actually features this kind of dial and bezel combination. Still a wonderful watch, but these are more common and they were easier to assemble. As a result, these early watches, produced when Dubuis' influence on the company was the strongest, are the most sought. It was created by a Vallee de Joux case maker for Dubuis and became something of a signature after it had died out. You can also see that the bezel itself, it has a wonderful fluid form, almost as though it were a piece of molten metal that were drawn out and then flash frozen in place. It has that kind of form to it, and you'll also note that it's stepped, so it has several different layers to its construction. It's a wonderfully nuanced take on a relatively simple component. Now the dial has a cream coloration, so it's a cream colored base. It is a glossy lacquer with all applique indices. You can see stylized dart style indices, diamond polished and faceted, applied by hand, as well as stylized Roman numerals, and you can see that they're slightly vaulted, so they actually trace the arc of the dial. Dimple style seconds track outboard. This was something Dubuis borrowed from his alma mater, Patek Philippe, and you'll note that the Bulletin d'Observatoire script at 6 o'clock designating a Besançon Observatory chronometer also follows the undulating profile of the bezel. The hands are Dauphine style and half frosted for better contrast, and if you are a horological purist who hates date apertures in all their forms, this is the watch for you. Turn it all over and you get a high horology movement in a high horology watch. Roger Dubuis caliber 57. It's based on the ultra-thin twin mainspring barrel Longines automatic caliber L990.1. 990.1 has 25 joules, 990.2 has 17. This is a 25 joule movement, thus it's based on the higher spec 990. Unidirectional winding twin mainspring barrels, one of them an open barrel to help keep the profile of the watch thin. It beats away at 4 Hertz, or 28,800 vibrations per hour. It's adjusted in 5 positions as a chronometer should be, and it features the Geneva Hallmark blazoned on its main plate, linear Côte de Genève, a skeletonized filigree rose gold Roger Dubuis logo on the winding mass, mirrored anglage, and you can see it lighting up on the edge of every bridge, as well as the jewel countersinks, and black polished screw heads with a black polished swan's neck fine adjustment mechanism on the balance. 44-hour power reserve, this one 30 meters water resistant, and intriguingly, the watch comes with an accessory Series solid gold caseback that attests to its 28-piece limited edition status. So you get this watch, you get both the display caseback as fitted, and you get a special solid gold caseback if you want to slim the profile just a little bit more and increase the mass on the wrist. This is a timepiece that checks all the boxes. One of the founders of the modern independent horology movement, one of the proponents of the Geneva Hallmark and traditional Besançon chronometry certificates, the late great Roger Dubuis, and one of the watches produced when his influence at his namesake manufacturer was the strongest back in 1995 when the company was still called SOGEM. This watch hails from that era. See it and make it yours on the Watchbox.